Guilty Gear Strive update removes references to Taiwan, Tibet, and Uyghur region from in-game story archives.
Yikes.
So I was very disappointed and saddened to see this. And I feel bad too because I bought the game. I actually bought it on. I found one of those Steam keys on sale, and I bought it using one of those. So I didn't pay full price. I got a good deal, but I bought it because my friends are playing it right now, and they're having a blast. And they're like, "Yeah, the netcode is great. Everything about this game is great. The artwork, we've talked about it. Beautiful game." But then I saw this story, and I was like, "Man." So, so let's take a look at this. In the story, they brought, um, they mentioned some of these regions. So this is, I believe they have a before and after. So according to the entry as originally written, the century-long conflict had particularly devastating consequences for various Asian populations, leaving countries that had high population density intended to import their food, such as Korea, Taiwan, and Singapore, unable to support or feed their own people. Not only that, but in the aftermath of the war, China further expanded their borders to encompass Uyghur, Tibet, Inner Mongolia, and Siberia regions with lower populations but a lot of natural resources. The influx of Chinese has caused the indigenous races and tribes population to diminish. The glossary entry continues. At the same time, they have increased their own territorial waters. Now, this is game canon, right? But obviously, it's based on reality because a lot of those things are true, right?
Yes.
Um, but so that's part of their story. They took some, you know, they took some liberties, I'm assuming, but they took some historical context and then they integrated it into their story for the game, right? That's fine. That's their right. We have tons of movies and games. That's what we do. We take history and then we expand it or, make alternate versions or, that's par for the course. But a user noticed that that was changed. So here we look at it now. Instead, the entry now simply refers to the various nations using only a vague umbrella term, countries and regions, though curiously still retains allusions to post Crusade Chinese imperialism. It reads now: the Federation of China has further expanded there to encompass nearby regions with lower populations but a lot of natural resources. As of writing, it is unknown what specifically led Arxis to make these edits, though they were likely done in response to an assumed backlash from Chinese players, unhappy with the fact that the game made public mentions of countries considered to be politically dissident by the CCP. Further, it should also be noted that that it currently remains unknown which of Guilty Gear Strive's previously released patches resulted in the removal of the text. So they're not even sure which one it was. They just noticed before and after. As none of the patch notes for the game's uh, updates make any note of the aforementioned changes being made to the game's glossary. So this is a. I don't know if you've been following. Did you follow the John Cena thing? Did you see that?
Yeah.
It was crazy, wasn't it? It was insane.
It was something.
It was. I thought it was pathetic. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. I thought it was pathetic. Like he was begging, pretty much. So uh, this is a problem because, look, you can make an argument that this in no way affects the quality of the game, right? The game still, they didn't change any gameplay, they didn't change anything like that. The game's still the same, right? You can totally make that argument. That's a fair argument. This is just text in their story. But the reason this is a problem is because you and me talk about this many, many times. Is that once you open the door to censoring people's stories, their creative visions, you get watered down products. You know what I mean? And not only do you get watered down products, but you're you're kind of lying to yourself and you're kind of lying to your customers. You know what I mean? You're you know what it's like? It's like if I came up to you and you were, let's say you were trying to sell something in my neighborhood, right?
Okay.
But what you were trying to sell mentioned that, um, you know, long ago my neighborhood, uh, I don't
You're going
know,
too far.
had
You're going
a,
you're going too far into this.
yeah, I know, because it's
I
because
get I get the
yeah,
point.
it's hard to understand. You know what I mean? It's hard because a lot of people simply don't see the problem with it. You know what I mean? And I'm
Yes.
trying to,
I mean, the same thing happens with censorship of sexual related content, which has
yes,
been something happening with Sony in general.
yeah,
It's freedom of expression and freedom of creative license.
yeah,
And whether and here's the thing though. In terms of real world content,
yeah,
and I'm just trying to be very like I'm walking on eggshells here, but in terms of real world content,
yeah,
there is freedom of expression only to a degree
yeah,
until you offend someone or an entity. In this case, it was the CCP.
yeah. Well, we don't
And
know though. We, it could have
no, no,
been
no, we
players.
don't know, but
Yeah,
I'm just saying
yeah, yeah.
in general,
We assume. Yeah.
it's yeah, it's usually taking offense.
Yes.
It's usually the reason given.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it is about money.
It is. Yeah.
It is about money, and when you open yourself up to that, that is a risk. That is the risk that you take.
Yeah.
So I will grant you that censorship in any form, and I feel this way. We've talked about this
Yeah.
recently, in terms of I think the censorship of Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition.
Yeah.
Whether people call it censorship or not, I really don't care. Like if it's that subjective, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's censorship, and
Yes.
whether I want to engage in their content or not is my choice.
Yes.
Um, that being said, this definitely does not hamper the gameplay.
Yes.
Thankfully,
Yes.
thankfully.
Yeah.
So it's definitely an ideological censorship,
Yes.
and that I will agree is probably one of the more egregious ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and in that regard, I would say it's very much in the hands and pockets of whomever wants to purchase the game. Like literally, you
Yeah.
got to vote with your wallet, and you got to stick with your morals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how I feel about the situation.
Yes. Yeah. And I can't. And like I said, I already bought the game. So for me, it's like I bought the game and then I saw this and I don't agree with this. But it's like, what do I do? Do I just like not use my copy of the game anymore, or do I just enjoy it for what it is and just have fun with my friends? You know what I mean? Not let politics ruin my experience. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and this is just to expand that conversation just a little bit further.
Yeah.
Maybe this could be something for our viewers to even let us know in the comments about how they feel and how they view the situation.
Yeah.
But to expand it further to something that's about to come soon, Diablo 4 and Blizzard. You know how Blizzard has reacted with the CCP in the past,
Yes. Yeah.
and
Can you
it's
okay? I'll just briefly tell people what it was.
Yeah,
It was
a
during
streamer.
it was yeah, it was
Go
during a
ahead.
tournament. A streamer uh or a gamer held up support for Hong Kong. And this was it was Overwatch, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. It was Overwatch and they held up support for Overwatch or not Overwatch. They held up support during an Overwatch tournament for Hong Kong and Blizzard would banned them. Just flat out
Just straight up.
just straight up banned them. Didn't give any good reason. They just said they violated some terms and then they were like, "Yeah, we don't allow political statements on our stream." But then they had to come out and be like, you know, basically they were just groveling to everyone because they got really bad reaction from the gaming community because the gaming community was like, bro, this guy's totally entitled to his freedom of speech. You know what I'm saying? He might not be an American, but we don't other Americans, we shouldn't be censoring people around the world. You know what I'm saying? And so people were furious and they ended up like letting him back, right? Wasn't it?
No, I don't think so. I
I,
don't think he was ever.
are you sure? I thought they.
I could be completely
Okay.
wrong.
I thought they
Be completely
reduced
wrong, but
his.
I could have sworn they
Okay.
didn't let him back.
It was honestly like a year and a half ago or something like that, right? It was a
Yeah,
little while ago.
yeah.
So I don't remember the details, but yeah, you're right. They immediately banned this guy for his own personal opinion.
It was an ideological censorship,
Yeah.
and I mean, and in that same regard, if I recall correctly, you were really upset about the situation to
Yeah.
the point where you're like, I'm not going to be supporting Blizzard.
Yeah, I stopped. I actually uninstalled my Blizzard installer
Your Battle.net, right?
for like 6 months or something crazy. Like
Yeah,
I uninstalled it for a long time before I played another Blizzard game again.
yeah,
Um,
and they're bringing back Diablo,
yeah,
bringing back
yeah,
Diablo 2. They've got Diablo 4 in the works.
yeah,
Those things are things you want to play.
yeah, yeah. So
So how do you battle that moral objection to a company's actions versus the commercial want of playing something that you want to play?
yeah, um, I I try not to be too like for one, I don't tell anyone what anyone else what to do. I'm not telling anyone watching this.
To not get guilty
Yeah,
gear strive.
exactly. That is my number one rule, and the reason why I have that rule is because it's not my job. The whole point of this is
To inform.
to inform, and also freedom of like choice, your personal agency, right? So my choice sometimes is to boycott, right? Sometimes it's long term, like if it's a movie that I think something, I don't agree with, then I just won't even watch the movie ever, right? But if
Mm.
it's a game um, that, well, you know what? I will say this. I
It's
have,
complicated.
it's complicated, but I have not played Overwatch since. Not once. Um,
I mean, to be honest, you're not really good at the game.
hey,
I'm
man.
kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Hey,
I'm totally
man.
kidding.
My May was legit, bro.
You
My
were
May was
trash.
legit. Um, but I did play World of Warcraft. I
Yep.
did play World of Warcraft because I'm a
And
huge.
you went back to World of Warcraft Basic too.
Yeah, classic. I play classic.
Classic. Pardon.
um,
I was calling you basic.
yeah, I'm basic. So yeah, I'm not going to tell anyone what to do. It is complicated, and I do take it by case basis. Sometimes I boycott forever. Sometimes I boycott temporarily. So yeah, it's messy. It's complicated, and it's not something that's easily decided. But I will say this is that even if people purchase the game, even if they play the game, that doesn't mean that you can tell me that I can't have an opinion on this. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the one thing I hate the most is when people go, but you bought the game, so you can't say anything. No, That's nonsense. You know what I mean? Like you can you can totally still have an opinion on it. Like
The caveat on that is that you can always have an opinion,
yeah,
but you're always going to have consequences
yeah,
to both your opinion and your actions.
exactly. And that's why I like I said I don't tell anyone else what to do. You see what I'm saying? That's how I square that. You know, because people always say, "How do you square that?" Well, I square that by not telling anyone else what to do. Like, I'm not out here launching a campaign saying you can't buy this game. So that's how I square that, if that makes sense.
Fair.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, look, I just think we shouldn't let money dictate history, or in this case, it's a game story. You know what I mean? It's not that serious, but like you said, it's just when you look at it, it's kind of sinister. It's kind of sinister.
But
Be-
also, like I said, I did say you do take that risk when you bring in real world things into a fictional
yeah,
story, and sometimes people or governments will take offense
yeah,
to what you bring into that, and there are repercussions.
yeah. And so my my whole thing would be like, honestly, I want to know what the Japanese gamers think about this because in Asia in general, China, Japan, and Korea, they all have their beefs. You know what I'm saying? And I want to know if you're a Japanese player and you're watching this, what do you and your friends think about this? If we're lucky to have someone who watches this who's a Japanese gamer, what do you and your friends think about this? Because that's what I'm
They're
really
too
curious
they're
about.
too busy playing mobile games, according to Square Enix.
Yeah, let us know what you think. The fact that a Japanese company did this, you know what I mean? Like, because the main criticism lately has been on American companies for doing this. Because American companies have been the ones really like kind of like doing this, and I
Well,
think
I mean, Sony's been forcing Japanese companies to censor for quite a bit, at least in terms of
yeah,
sexual conduct
yeah,
or content.
I'm talking
So
about
I
yeah,
don't think this is too far derived from that kind of thing.
no, but I'm talking about censoring for the sensibilities of the Chinese government.
Hmm.
I haven't seen that in a Japanese game yet. Have you? I don't believe I
Not
have.
that I know of.
Yeah. So, yeah, I want to know what you all think because I'm troubled with it. I don't like it. I don't like it because
Return your game.
I can't. It's a Steam key. I mean,
Return the Steam key. You know you can return that.
yeah. I'll somehow find a way to destroy it. But yeah, I mean,
Well, don't they have a return policy? They have a return policy for digital content.
I
Like if you play for like 2 hours or less, you can
yeah,
return it.
I bought it.
Ah,
I bought it from one of those third-party key sites
why are you so dirty?
because it's cheap. No, no. Because someone just sent me a link and they're like, "Hey, here's a good deal," and I just got it from that. So
I'm gonna send you so many spam links now because you obviously just click on any link.
no, no. I looked up, is this site legit first? That's what I did.
Oh, you Googled it?
Yeah. And the ironic thing is, the site is probably run in China. But yeah,
Wow.
my I got to say this clearly. My whenever I complain about these things, it's never about the people of that country. It's always about the institutions that want this type of censorship. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm not prejudiced at all towards the people in any of these countries that I mentioned. So, yeah, there you have it. Very complicated issue, but very straightforward in a way too. It just I don't like it.